Good afternoon, everyone. I kind of wanted to get on here and talk a little bit. I saw last night and I didn't click on it, and then I saw this morning and I actually watched the video of the boy in Tennessee that was crying hysterically because he's being bullied for the way that he looks. And I don't know what the world is coming to anymore. I worry nonstop about my boys growing up in this world and having to deal with all the scary things that are happening. I mean, it's you know, and it was probably like this when I was younger and when I was a kid and all that, but you didn't hear about it as much, and I blame social media for that, because before, you know, you had to watch the news or read the newspaper in order to find out what was going on in the world. You know, now you have internet and you have everybody reposting and retweeting and everything, and so you see it a lot faster and you see it more. And you know, just my son, my oldest, has not started kindergarten yet. He you know, he's bigger than the average bear. He's very tall, is what I mean. And, you know, so I'm hoping that he stays on that track to where he's not going to have to worry about any kind of bullying, you know, being bullied, anything like that. And I honestly don't see him being a bully, because I watch him playing with other kids. Yes, he is more of the typical boy these days, meaning he's more rough and I don't know, he's more boyish than most boys these days, is what I'm getting at. So, you know, I know it really doesn't happen in kindergarten that much, but getting up in the grades and all that, you know, it just scares me, because I dealt with kids being bullies when I was in, I'd say, middle school mainly, and it was because my nose was a little longer, you know, bigger than normal. I used to have moles on my face. I used to have 3 brown moles. They just look like freckles. But I'd get made fun of because of that, because of my nose. And then, you know, I've never been a heavy person, never in my life. I've never even, at my heaviest when I was pregnant, I think I was at 190, I believe. And so I always, you know, would get boys that were calling me thunder thighs, and I'm like, okay, I don't really understand why you're calling me that, but whatever. And then because my name is Randy, I would get called, you know, I get made fun of because it's a boy's name, and they would call me like, because there used to be a wrestler, Macho Man Randy Savage, I think is what his name is, and so they used to call me that. And it's like, you know, it's just petty things that were happening to me, but what's happening to all these other kids these days at school, and again, social media, because everybody thinks that they're all big and bad behind the screen. Now, would they say all this kind of stuff to somebody directly to their face? No, probably not, because, you know, most people are you know, they're cowards. So, I mean, they all talk and act big and bad behind, you know, their phones or their computers. But, you know, what you say hurts somebody deep down. And, you know, I'm not going to say that I was bullied, because I wouldn't say that that's bull. I mean, yes, it is to a point, but not to the degree that's happening these days. But somebody that went through that kind of stuff in school, you never forget it. You never, I don't know, it's like it's always in the back of your head that you were made fun of for some reason. You know, how you look, you know, because you're not wearing the most in fashion clothing. You know, I was never, you know, poor. My parents were not poor, but we were not, you know, super well off to the point of where I could go out, because when I was in middle school, like those Timberland boots, those brown Timberland boots were in style. I could never have those because they were so expensive. You know, just all the other random stuff that people had, and it's just, I don't know, just because you're not wearing name brand clothing, or you don't have the latest phone, or the latest, I don't even know what anymore, iPads, I have no clue. I'm not into that kind of stuff. You know, people should never be made fun of because they have some sort of disability or their face just looks different. That's unacceptable. My brother was handicapped and he died from his handicap, being handicapped. But when I hear somebody or see somebody that's making fun of somebody that has a disability, it truly makes me upset and makes me think of my brother, because I know that this kind of stuff would have happened to him, and it's not okay. It's not okay. People really need to stop. I'm getting I'm getting emotional thinking of my brother. Bullying needs to stop. It has got to come to an end. People have got to step up and get these children under control, because you know, it's not okay. It's not healthy. It's not acceptable to ever talk down to somebody and treat them differently for whatever cause, for whatever reason. You should never do that. And you know, as me being an adult, I mean, I was at my last job, my boss did not like me for whatever reason. Never have known what reasoning she didn't like me for, but she didn't like me, and she treated me completely different than the other two girls in the office. She would go out of her way to ignore me. She would talk down to me, and one thing that should never happen in the workplace. It should not. But she made me feel very self-conscious of myself, because I felt like I wasn't as good as her, or, you know, that's just the way she made me feel. Even though I was doing my job correctly, I was making, you know, the customers were happy. I'd never got any emails, like complaint emails or calls or anything like that. But it's just, some people are just mean. Deep down, they are just cruel, bitter, mean people. And it should not be like that. It should not be like that at all. Something has got to be done. That little boy in Tennessee, I feel for him. I really do. Because that video of him crying, that hurt. That was just, no child should ever have to feel the pain like that. They shouldn't. And that school needs to step up somehow. I haven't read anything. I don't know if they have. But that school needs to step up. Those kids that were bullying him, the group of kids or single kids, they need to be punished. And something needs to be done. But I just wanted to get on here and talk about that, because it's bothered me all day. And like I said, I'm just worried with how today is going, like today's world is going. It just makes me worry about both of my boys growing up and having to deal with all this kind of crap. And I know me being the type of mom that I am, I don't like to see anybody get onto my son, like my oldest, if he's out and about, you know, and he is playing too roughly, or, you know, anything like that, and somebody gets onto him, or if a kid's mean to him, I turn into big mama bear, and I go into defense mode. I really do, because I don't want anybody to hurt my boys. I don't want them to verbally hurt them, physically hurt them, anything. So it makes me worry. It makes me sad. But I'm hoping that both these boys, they end up big like their daddy, and they can just take, you know, a stand and stand up for themselves and not have to worry about being bullied or anything like that. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's just, it's really scary. It's really scary, because everybody gangs up on one person in this bullying situation, like on social media, and they just bully the heck out of people on social media. I read things on Instagram, like different people that I follow, and you get all these mean, cruel people that have to comment hurtful things, and You know, I've seen it on YouTube. I've had people comment on my stuff before, and it's just like, how does that make them feel any better? It doesn't make anybody feel better. They might feel big and bad, but they're not. They're a coward. They're weak and they're a coward. And